What's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to the Nerd Castle for another episode of Eador, Masters of the Broken World. Now, from what I understood, everybody seemed to like the game quite a bit, and so hopefully we'll be able to turn this into a full playthrough, but unfortunately, one thing that I did want to point out is the game is not consistently working for me right now, so if it just becomes too much of a headache, we are going to have to abandon it by the side of the road like a bag of baby raccoons or something like that. Whatever bag of objects you would abandon by the side of the road. Where we had left off, we had done pretty well in our first little bit of the game, and one of the things you always want to focus on with Eador is capturing this outer ring of your land as quickly as possible. Now, we had put together some buildings. Our construction queue at the moment is building up an altar so that we can get shamans in the next turn or two, which I think is going to be highly beneficial to our gameplay. Shamans have the advantage of being able to drop magical nukes from deep down field in the battle, and they can cause a lot of pain for your enemies, and they have a lot of longevity, I guess. I was trying to search for words right there, but they have the ability to still be useful in mid-game and almost into endgame if you level them properly. So, it's a unit that I'm very fond of. Some people will not agree with me, but after we get Shaman's Gun, I think we'll probably pick out 2 more Tier 1 units. Maybe, I don't know if I want to do a Brotherhood of Light Healer, or if I want to do a Pikeman possibly, but something very, very defensive that can hold the line, because as of right now, we're using Barbarians to do most of our dirty work, and the problem with them is that they cannot hold a position worth their lives. Unfortunately, they're great at taking positions, but if we have to have them hold a pass, it's not going to go very well for us. It's just going to be a bloody mess. Now, with all that taken into consideration, the altar being constructed, I believe that we had not placed a mill. Yeah, we need a sawmill at this location. That's going to increase our income over here, which is going to help us out in the greater scheme of things. Additionally, we're going to want to take a few turns to alleviate the overpopulation in Byplace, because the population is pressed up against one another. There have been all kinds of sexual harassment lawsuits. Nobody's got any personal space. They're just rubbing naughty bits. The lawyers are dancing in the streets because there's all kinds of lawsuits going down, and we all know the only people that benefit when lawsuits fly are the lawyers. So let's go ahead and end our turn. And we'll take a look. We haven't met any of our neighbors as of yet. We found ourselves a primeval thicket here in Byplace. Unfortunately, it's got 5 enemies and fairies and dryads, so that's going to be a little tough for us right now. We're going to walk away from that fight. That's not one that I feel confident that we can put down for the time being. We only explored a little bit, so we're going to have to stay at this location a little longer. It's alright. I want to make sure that things are expanding at the rate that I'd like them to, though. We found ourselves an ancient crypt, and it's full of 4 giant slugs. Also, giant slugs are a big problem. You know the scene in Starship Troopers where that big slug thing sprays the acid on the dude and he just like melts? That's exactly what they do to my troops, and it's incredibly unpleasant. The mess getting it out of my boots as I run away it's awful. I have to hire a new cobbler, because every time I take my boots in, the cobbler is just like, yo man, this is slug dust. I can't handle this. It's disgusting. We managed to complete 5% of the exploration there. We've got a little bit of extra cash running for the time being, so I am going to start the construction of our totem. So there it is, and let's go ahead and head back to the capital at this point and recruit ourselves some shamans before we hit some of these other locations. Actually, never mind. I don't think our hero had an upgrade to his command. I think, all things considered, we had leveled up twice, and he had gotten terrible, terrible level ups. He had just gotten HP, like HP plus 1 and HP plus 1. So while that builds, let's consider knocking over Oknardouche. It might be a tough fight, but I think we can handle it with where we're at given our current skills. I pretty much think we can roll over them. 5 goblins and orcs. We'll probably be okay. Let's not worry about it. So we've got a couple of units here. We're surrounded by some nice terrain. The fact that we're attacking out of a forest gives us a little bit of an advantage. It's sort of like the beginning of Gladiator, where that Viking guy runs up and he's like, "Defectahugen," and he makes a bunch of noise, and, you know, we've got the cover of trees, is the point I'm trying to get to before I ramble off about Gladiator for too long. The trees are going to give us a bit of cover. It's going to force them to march through. It takes them a lot longer. They're not going to be within range of us. I want to whittle away at them as best as I can before they close ranks with us. So I'm going to let them get a wee bit closer. Let's take our first shot at this goblin in the front. And because I want to skirmish with them, they have us outnumbered. We want to damage them as much as possible before they actually get within arm's length of us. I'm going to let my... I can't tell if that's going to kill him. Instead, what I'm going to do is my slinger's going to go over here, and then I'm going to have my barbarian skirmish with him. And that's going to take that first goblin out. We're almost on even soil with them at this point. But let's go ahead and put some damage on that orc. We have enough ammunition to last a little bit longer. I don't think I've repaired my weapons, though, as I recall, so we may find a little bit of trouble in that situation. With 7 damage left, let's go ahead and soften up him since he's going to get to us first. The orcs can only move 1 hex at a time. I'm just going to hold my position and let them come to me. Now, later on in the game, holding out like this is probably not going to be a viable strategy, as the enemies are going to be able to sink damage from our range much better, and they're going to be able to return fire. But for now in the early game, this is a remarkably effective tactic that I think nobody should have a problem implementing. It should work out perfectly fine for you. Let's go ahead and kill off that goblin with the last little bit of our barbarian strength there. Have our slinger throw a stone at him. Did full damage, actually, so that's nice. And then we're going to bide our time with the remainder of these units that are going to try and close with us. Now, because he's in a forest, he's going to get a little bit of mitigation from our ranged attack, which is unfortunate. I think we could probably get away with just damaging him as much as possible, though. As you recall in the previous episode, I said that units that are damaged don't deal full damage. That's going to play in very heavily right here. We want him to be as wounded as possible before he closes with our barbarian. This unit may kill the orc. I don't know what his retaliation is. Oh, with 7 damage, we managed to kill him, so I'm not even going to worry about it. And that's going to be the end of that turn. Now, that orc is going to get a nice large mace strike against our berserker. It's going to hurt a little bit. He's going to get ouchy boo-boos. He's going to have to apply band-aids thoroughly. But in the greater scheme of things, he's fine. He might weep and cry for a little bit, as he's known. He's a little bit of a whiner. I'm gonna say that behind closed doors. He likes to whine and cry a tad, and it's a little disgusting, but in any case, Slit is leveled up. He got command +1, which is very good considering we're trying to retrofit our army for actual combat. He's got 3 options here that he can pick between. Looting, which is going to increase our spoils. Pathfinding, which will give us forest knowledge, which means we deal better damage while hiding in forests, and we take less damage. Additionally, we can move through all of those kind of terrains without getting slowed down. You guys mentioned in the first episode that this is a good investment. I'm going to consider doing it later on, but for now I'm going to keep buffing up damage. So we're going to take ranged attack +1 there. Our barbarian has leveled up and he gets to pick between hit points and stamina. I'm going to go with hit points since I never seem to have a problem with stamina. We have taken Oknar Douche, but that is going to be a problem in that they are discontent. So as time goes along, this little bar right here on the right is going to fill up. When it goes all the way to the right, we're going to have a rebellion on our hands, and we're going to have to suppress that. There's Kuhash Nash Has, which is a lizard man land. We don't want to face off with them just yet. We're probably going to hit the goblins next, but for now, let's head back to town to Whitestone to retrofit our army and think about what we want to construct next in the greater scheme of our city building municipal planning. Let's take a look and see what we've got here. So, I wanted to do pikemen. Pikemen require a forge. Now, we've also captured some hilly lands, which makes me consider possibly going to the tradesman's quarter and building a digger's guild, which is essentially the same thing as the carpenter's guild, except that you put it on hilly lands. It allows you to mine for ores. So, what do we need for that? We need ourselves a foundry or a forge. So, let's get a forge going. And so once the forge is all done, it's going to add some items to our store, and it's going to allow us to build the pikemen and some of the things we were thinking about anyways. So this is a really good investment for us in terms of our cash on hand. Heading back out, we're going to move our way back to Whitestone in between turns. And once we're here, we're going to think about our next move. Now that we're back in Whitestone, it's going to allow us to hire some troops. Let's go ahead and fire the Slinger. He's not going to be that useful in the future, and I don't even want to keep him on hand as militia. Now, you may or may not have noticed that a little +1 has appeared on our portraits right here. That's because everybody in my group is evil. When you hire a full group of evil people, and all you have in your group are evil souls, you get yourself a little boost of morale because everybody's on an even kill. We're all on the same page. Now, my character's not that evil. I know that somewhere I can take a look at this. I think it's maybe under statistics here somewhere. I don't know where it's listed. I know you can see what your overall alignment is for the time being. I just don't see it right now. Here you can see we can only have 3 upgrades at any location. So this is By Place, Pixie Woods, and Oknar Douche. You can see here that we've got sawmills, and once we put in our mine, that's going to fill in a space. You can only have 3, so be very careful as you move along because you can actually fill up these spaces. Additionally, that extra 4th one right there is for the defenders that we've assigned. And this one right here is fortifications that we've built, which those will come into play later on. Now, typically my games are over long before I start mass producing fortifications because I tend to bum rush my foes very rapidly and just take them out. But different people play differently. Your games might have a little bit more longevity than mine do. Let's go ahead and hit Muddy Waters right now. The sound of their bluegrass just banging away from the side of our city is driving me nuts. I've told them to turn the amplifiers down. They've refused to acquiesce to our commands. They seem to think that this is some kind of pirate code where it's more of a suggestion. Nay, sir, this is indeed enforceable imperialism. You will do what we say or we will steamroll you with evil force lightning. And so let's go. They're going to get the first move because everything is situated, but you are going to get to see our characters go to work. So this right here is why I like the shamans. They hit really, really hard from point blank range, actually. I'm going to have all of my units move into defensive positions, possibly kill him. We're going to do our best to. And down he goes, so he's out of the way. I'm going to have him come to here, and hopefully we can get somebody up on this hill in the next turn. But we're going to try and thin the herds here. Down goes the next goblin. The other thing you want to be aware of with shamans is they do have a spell book down here. They can curse people. It lowers their attack stats by -2. And it adjusts their defensive stats by a -1, if I recall correctly. We'll check it in the next turn. He's going to get a retaliatory attack on us, which is unfortunate. But he's wounded up enough to where he's only going to take that 1 damage. He's going to get slashed in his face, double axe style, and that's going to be the end of him. Now, as I mentioned in previous episodes, you always want to let new units get the last hit because the unit that gets the last hit gets the lion's share of the XP for the kill. And so yeah, I was right. -2 attack and -1 to all defensive stats. And so hopefully this shaman right here will get a level up from killing. We got ourselves a dagger. Not exactly a great equip, but we got 4 gold. Our barbarian is leveled up and has the ability to either get more morale or more attack. We're going to give him attack because morale I never seem to run out of. We've got an event on hand here. Peasants in the province of Pixie Woods have found an ancient burial ground. It is rumored among the locals that this is a pagan shrine of their remote ancestors, and many people begin to bring flowers to the ancient graves, paying tribute to the memory of the relatives long gone. I suppose this is going to make people happy. I can almost guarantee you that this is going to raise, in Pixie Woods, it's going to give them a green smiley instead of a yellow-green smiley, which, as we know from studying colors, as things get greener, they tend to get better. So let's put up, it's going to cost us 50 gold and 20 crystals. It's a little risky. They're not really going to rebel, or we can dig up the tombs for treasure. I think that's what we're going to do. Digging up the tombs for, oh, that made them really grumpy. So Pixie Woods is not happy with us right now. Your workers managed to find several valuable items among the tombs. The people in your province are outraged at your actions. So we got ourselves 250 gold, a stiletto, and some silk gloves. Well, we can execute the malcontents, or we can say we don't give a damn or let them be outraged. Let them be outraged. They'll calm down. But they are quite indignant at the moment, which is bad because we've got a large portion of our kingdom in a state of rebellion. But it'll be all right. Let's go ahead and get our construction going again now that we have a nice fistful of gold. My favorite of gold to have. I think we were thinking about doing, yeah, we were doing the Diggers Guild. So let's build the Diggers Guild. And right away, we're going to go ahead and build ourselves a mine right here to get ourselves as much cash on hand as we can. The other thing we might consider doing is maybe building a pixie forest on the outskirts of our city so that we can get wayward pixie guards that'll make people happier. For some reason, people are really into pixies. I don't know if it's like pedophilia or what, but all of our weird little peasants seem to enjoy having childlike flitting creatures running around the habitations that they tend to be in, so we can get those as provincial guards. They're basically just little fairies and they make people happier. For the time being, 26% there, 26% there, 28% there. We'll keep an eye on their bar right there, and when they decide to rebel, we'll go ahead and fight them off and just annihilate them in the most efficient way that we can. We're going to want to get provincial guards up and running, though, in the near future, because with this situation and these situations, considerations being what they are, we probably want to make sure that if a rebellion comes up, we'll be all right. So let's head back to the capital for the time being, and now that we have an actual army, we're going to explore around the capital, and we're going to start annihilating some baddies to see if we can get our hands on some better equipment. Let's figure out what getting our hands on some provincial guards is going to cost us in the greater scheme of things. Let's go to our military quarter, and in the tier 1 units, I don't think we're actually going to be able to get guards very rapidly. Yeah, so it doesn't seem like a lot of the guys here are offering tier 1 occupational guards, but what we can do is go to our forest quarter, and an enchanted grove gives us the ability to do these forest spirits right here. It increases the population mood by +2. They also act as a provincial guard so that if they actually get overrun, they should be able to at least take a piece out of the enemy before I have to go over there and suppress them. Now, I'm going to explore this location for just a little while. Actually, let's take a look at the locations that we have on hand. Oh, I looked at the garrison. That's not what I want. Let's go ahead and cancel that order, and we'll take a look at the locations. from what I recall, we've got undead. Yeah, let's do the undead. I think we can handle it for now, as long as it's not vampires. So we're going to explore an abandoned temple and see what comes up here. Skeletons and zombies. While searching for treasures, we find an ancient temple. Guards have noticed the uninvited guests and are preparing for a battle. Our orders are going to be to attack because we have an actual army, and this is going to be a lucrative exchange for us. We get the first turn because we can't see our enemies on the right. So let's see what we've got. First things first, let's move our barbarians up onto a hill to kind of give a little bit of defense and shift this way. If they decide to swing around here and come after us, I want these barbarians to just kind of move back and forth the best that they can. The zombies can only move one. I believe the skeletons can move two, so that's something to bear in mind. Let's fire some magical damage at them, and this is one of the things I like about the shamans, is that a lot of units in the beginning of the game don't have very good magical resistance. These skeletons pretty much negate my archer altogether. They have an 8 range defense, so you really want to hit them with magic if you can help it. They're also attackers. They tend to be the frontline charge because they deal 9 damage. They only retaliate with 5, so not much to worry about there. Let's see if she can get rid of this one on the right before he closes ranks with us. My archer can shoot at the zombies. The zombies don't have that resistance. They just have a lot of HP, and they tend to have really good attack stats, so we're going to want to kill them before they get close too. So there it is. None of my skirmishers can throw an axe as of yet, so we'll just allow them to continue advancing on us. This skeleton should be gone before the next turn. At least I don't see why not. These zombies can afford to take a little bit more damage, which is what we're going to do, and we're going to spread it out a tad. Now, zombies, I don't remember... Tireless. Okay, so they have the ability Tireless. They also have Feel No Pain. That means that they have infinite stamina. They also have the same thing my barbarians have, where they deal the same amount of damage no matter how much HP they have gone. They don't actually suffer from wounds like other people do. Now my barbarian, throw an axe at him. See what little amount of damage... Oh, 4. Never mind. I shouldn't have said that. My barbarian did well. Let's go ahead and wait because they can only move 1 hex, so why not allow them just to come to me? My ranged characters are going to take their shots. There it is. They didn't manage to kill him, so I guess my archer will finish him off for now. And with the remainder of their troops pretty much waylaid, we're going to go ahead and move away from our defensive position and just get to work kind of skirmishing and fighting with them. My mage is going to see if she can get rid of my shaman. There we go. She got rid of the skeleton. And just so we can make sure that the barbarians have a little bit of... Oh, I accidentally double-clicked. And so he should be... Oh, he's not. Never mind. Let's go ahead and have that barbarian throw an axe, which was my intention. And with that final damage, we spread that XP around pretty good on that battle. Our shaman has leveled, which means we have the ability to raise her ranged attack by 1 or to raise her resistance by 1. I'm going to do the ranged attack by 1 for now. We got a Scroll of Vampirism, which I'm not positive what that does. We'll have to take a look at it here. And it looks like replenishes its hit points whenever it deals damage in a melee attack, active for 3 turns. So that might be useful in the future. We might also consider just vendoring it. Got 184 gold though, which is no slouch, and also managed to clear out some baddies from our location. So not too bad, not too shabby. Let's see if we can visit another location. I thought I saw another undead here. Yep, I did. So we're going to continue clearing out the undead before we move further. Now, I am going to put in, while we have the extra cash, we're going to put in the Foresters Guild as an interesting option because we could put them there. Yeah, let's do that. We'll do a Foresters Guild. Instead of doing the Pixies, we're just going to put a Foresters Guild in the location because it's cheaper. And this increases the income from all of our forest provinces. So that's going to be a double whammy. We're going to make a little bit more cash, and we're going to get some guards to make sure that when they rebel, they get steamrolled. Bypass the turn once more. And there's 6 skeletons and zombies in this tomb. I think we can still do it, though. We've got a pretty strong ranged plethora of abilities going, so we'll probably be all right. Let's go ahead and move her. We'll keep everybody where they're at, and we'll just kind of shift them this way. I'm going to shift my leader back behind everything because we never want our leader to get taken out. Because they've got a little bit of an extra turn here, I am going to curse some of the skeletons just in case they make the run for our lines. So their attack is now debuffed by 2, and their defense is debuffed by 1, which means I should be able to hit them a little harder when the time and need arises. Let's go ahead and spread some damage around here. She's managed to destroy that skeleton with her first burst. And a very nice turn for us. That's a nice result. We're going to go ahead and have these guys continue shifting this way just to make sure that we're safe. And it's decided to change the... I guess we're fighting through the night. It's a all-night zombie battle, as those tend to be. Because he's on a hill, he can throw an axe 2 spaces instead of throwing 1. little more damage there. I'm happy with the result. Our shamans are going to deal a little bit further damage. I don't know if we're going to have a Left 4 Dead type situation here where they just overrun us and we're forced into melee with them. We're going to do our best, though. Let's throw an axe here. Oh, we weren't able to lay them low. So she's going to fire there, and he's going to fire there. And that should finish off the remainder. Yeah, I don't even think they're going to be able to break camp with us right now, so we should be all right. Let's move my barbarians out, have them fire a round or so, and we should be more or less finished with this combat. Hopefully he hits for 10. Oh, he hit for 8, unfortunately. So he's going to take a retaliation. In addition, let's see if we can step her out and maybe get an attack, although I think she might be out of ammo. She is in DD, so being out of ammo, we're just going to have to live with the results there. Our barbarian survived that assault, which is good. I was worried he might land a 10 on us. I didn't even know if that was possible, but if it did happen, it would be nasty. Our character Slit has gained another level, and he's gained a magic slot. We haven't done a whole lot of research into magic as of right now, and I'm thinking that's a good spot to spend our time for the foreseeable future. I think what I'll do is we've got archery once again, so this is a temptation. We can take level 3 of marksmanship, which will increase our range by 1 and also increase our attack by 1, allowing us to effectively fire all the way across the battlefield. Or we can take archery 1, which is going to give us armor-piercing shots. It negates 1 of our enemy's armor. I think for now I'm going to take the freebie buff to range, and our barbarian is leveled up. I'm going to give him the berserker buff +1. Additionally, we can upgrade our units right now for his outstanding performance. It'll increase his defense and counterattack by 1, but his upkeep does increase by 1 gold. We're going to give him the Order of the Defender. Oh, another level up. So this has been a good combat for us. With the first level up, I'm going to give the Shaman another HP. We got ourselves a reinforced shield from the treasure distribution, 174 gold and 11 crystals. Very nice, not a bad result at all, my friends. What we want to do now is hire guards for this location. So let's hire the foresters. They've got a 2 upkeep, which sucks a little bit, but it does increase our intake from that zone. Let's take a look at our finances. We're making 36 gold a turn anyway, so not a lot to worry about there. Let's take a look at some of the magical buildings that we can construct before we go much further. In the magic quarter, there's a number of things that we want to take a look at. There are different schools of magic, and we can only have 4 of them. So your options are wizardry, sorcery, winds, chaos, and necromancy, and sanctuary. Wizardry is damaging spells and buffs. Sanctuary is going to be healing spells, buffs, and debuffs. Necromancy is going to be raising the dead and corralling all of those nasty little necromantic figures into our own employ. In the, what is this, sorcery? Sorcery is going to have a lot of strange things. So it has astral energy, which is like a shield, dispel, which eliminates curses from your units, and web, which is a very good spell. Web actually holds your opponent in place for a turn, which can be good for those nasty juggernaut units that seem to be trying to jump your lines. The Sphere of the Winds is going to give you a lot of buffs for movement and haste. A lot of people very much like this. It also has some shields, things of that nature. It gives you a, I guess, a ritual here called Fair Winds. Not entirely positive what that does. The Altar of Chaos is for demon summoning and all kinds of evil stuff. It allows you to burn your enemy's ammo. It lets you summon imps, just all kinds of nasty things you can do once you level up Chaos. These do continue as kind of a archetypal progression throughout the tiers, so as you get further and further, you have to specialize more and more until the 4th tier when you have to just pick one thing. Now, for the time being, I want to do a School of Wizardry, which requires a library. So let's get a library in place. The library has the added benefit of giving us cantrips. If you ever played old D&D games, there was a level 0 circle of spells. I don't know if they still have it in the newer edition. I think they kind of just condensed it all into basic class abilities, but cantrips were very basic incantations that any noob could do. And that's what the library gives me access to. So once we have those in place, we can go to the library, and any of our heroes can actually cast spells. They cost crystals from our collective pool, so nothing to worry about there. I'm also going to queue up the... I'm going to queue up the Hall of Sorcery. Actually, no. Nay, I say. Nay, I'm going to queue up the... let's do the Sanctuary, because I think giving my unit healing spells might be an interesting investment, and it's going to save me from having to buy healers later on down the road. If I can just be the heal bot for my group, I think that'll work out mighty fine, just fine. Now, there's nothing else that's looking particularly vulnerable, so what we might consider is going back over to Muddy Waters, braving the bluegrass jazzy output of this general location, and doing a little scouting here. Schedule construction has gone through with our library, so we're going to go ahead and do the sanctuary. Let's explore a little bit right here and make sure that we have enough space uncovered so that people aren't rubbing up against each other and just generally being grouches. We weren't able to discover much there. We did 5%, actually. That's a pretty good exploration turn. 4% there. We're up to 24%. And you can see the little bar starts to increase the instant that they've got extra space. 4 more percent. I think I'm going to take it up to 30% before we disengage from here. Not a lot of lucrative locations for me to raid, though. There's a troll there. Let's stand it. 11 trolls, and we stand no chance at all. This is an incredibly dangerous fight. This is the fight the likes of which that even endgame units would probably have a little bit of trouble with. Now that that's out of the way, let's consider, is anywhere else overpopulated? What locations do we have here? Bandits, spiders, and brigands. Let's go ahead and clear out some bandits over here. Anytime you clear out bandits, I think they tend to get a little bit happier, and we've got time for like one more engagement, so I think that'll work out in the greater scheme of things. We were able to bypass that. Very nice. In one turn, we're already here, so let's go ahead and visit the bandit lair. And we'll try and wrap that up, and once that's done, I think that's going to be where we're going to break off the episode. The following units were in the gang: brigands, thieves, bowmans, and assassins, so this is going to be a fun fight. Let's go ahead and annihilate them. It's going to increase our reputation with the surrounding location, though, so this is a fight that's very good for us to undertake. They're going to get the first move, which makes me terrified. Oh, very close right there. We almost lost a shaman. I'm going to go ahead and give that guy right now. So our shaman has 2 HP left, and given that she's already upgraded a little bit, that's a terrifying thing for us to go up against. Our shamans are going to try and get rid of this rogue before he gets close enough to throw a knife, which is my primary concern when dealing with rogues. They also have a assassin, an assassino, a personal Ezio in their revenue, who might be able to deal a little bit of damage to us. So we want to make sure... Ooh, we're faced with a quandary here. Let me see if I can get rid of the assassin with a ranged shot. This unit has enough health to maybe take a hit from him, but not from him. Let's see what we can get situated before much longer. I have to put a unit right there. And putting a unit right there, we may lose this shaman. I don't like it. This assassin, I think this assassin's going to get on this hill and kill a shaman, though. And no matter how much I did right there, I don't think I could have killed him. Or the shaman may throw for, he may do something incredibly stupid and miss a kill opportunity. He did. He threw a knife at the barbarian in the front. I don't know why he did that, but my hero's going to go ahead and make sure that he's laid low. Let's fire some magic damage at him. 4 damage right there. This barbarian's going to go ahead and handle the final killing blow. This barbarian's going to throw his skirmishing axe. Okay, and so we've done well in this engagement. We've got some wounds to tend to. We almost lost a barbarian, which is tense. It's a little tense. I don't want to lose anybody this early on in the engagement. Having to replace units is a big deal. If you end up having to replace a unit, you can end up really using tons and tons of turns, especially if you lose like a level 6 unit. Ooh, good luck with that. So we got 42 gold. Our barbarian leveled up. I'm going to go with hit points over morale. Our shaman leveled up. I'm going to go with hit points over counterattack. We got soldiers overshoes, a reinforced shield, 270 gold, and 25 crystals. Very, very nice. So a good result for us all around. The deputy of the province of Muddy Waters has informed you that a huge swarm of locusts has turned up in their lands. If you don't take measures immediately, the insects will destroy the entire harvest. Let's go ahead and buy a flock of birds from bird catchers. The bird catchers release a flock of trained birds, and they begin chasing the locusts. In less than an hour, not a single one of the nasty insects is left in the province. The damage to your lands only costs you 42 gold, well on top of the 150 we already spent. But I assure you, if we hadn't handled that, it would have been a lot worse. Now, taking a look here at Muddy Waters, the nasty face here, oh, never mind, they're still grumpy. Pixie Woods, what can I do to oblige to you? Well, unfortunately, we aren't going to be able to do much. Now, we do have a ritual called Chalice of Life. It restores 5 hit points to the hero and all of our units. I'm going to cast that right now, and everybody on this space is going to get a little bit of a heal. That's going to help us out in the greater scheme of things, make it so that we recover a little bit quicker before we get ourselves into trouble. I need to go back to town, and I think I've played this entire episode with broken weapons. We need to get our weapons repaired, and to do that, you go back to any location that has a store in it. Ooh, an adventurer known as Scald has found an ancient crypt in the province of Pixie Woods. He's asking you to help him with the gear he needs to explore the site. He's willing to hand over half the trophies he finds to your treasury. Let's gamble. 80 gold and 20 crystals will get us a potential amazing insurge of gear. We can tell him we don't need his pathetic trophies. We can drive him out or string him up. Let's see what happens. Hey, and we won. So the Skald explores the ancient crypt and finds much gold and many valuable items. He hands over the promised half of the trophies to your treasury. We've got a mace, and even more importantly, silver arrows. Those are going to actually catapult us a little bit. Our scout is pretty much ready for middle game at this point. Very well then. Let's go to the store and repair our gear. To do that, you click this little store icon, and then you just say repair all items. There it is. If you want to look at gear that's been looted, you go to the treasury. The silver arrows, ranged attack +4, ammo +3. So we lose 1 ammo, but we gain a bunch of attack. We're going to take that one outright. They're a little more fragile. They break pretty quickly. Nothing terrible to worry about there, though. We can put the common arrows in our backpack and swap them out mid-combat if we need to. I'm going to sell the vampirism spell for a little bit of extra cash. Everything else, let's put on the gloves for some extra HP. And instead of the knife, I'm going to go with the stiletto. Maybe, oh, the knife has precise strike. Well, I don't see myself using any of this too heavily, so let's move everything out of our inventory into the treasury, in case later on we get some new units that can actually make do with this stuff. I'd also like to put on a leather jacket. One nice thing about this game, the stuff that you buy for your character is not that expensive. This leather jacket that just increased our defense by 1 for both ranged and melee, it only cost us like 13 gold, so just a cool thing to think about. One of the things that I very much like about Eador. So, that about brings us to the end of the line here. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me at the Nerd Castle for this less than, well, I'm not very good at the game. You'll notice I haven't been building quite as much as I probably should be, so we'll get in on that in the next episode. But I'll see you guys next time. I hope you're enjoying the series, and there have been a lot of bugs and crashes for me. Something about the way that this game interacts with recording software, it doesn't like it, so if it gets too rowdy to where I'm just being frustrated all the time, we may have to cut the series off early and just kind of treat it as a review or something of that nature. But I will see you guys next time. Take care out there, everybody, and I am looking forward to it.